Welcome back to Copa America, brand new best of 3 coming at you guys, and it's going to be a really good ZVT. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map from No Dice Gaming, the Blue Zerg player, Cham.
In the upper left has the red tear, and it is Drewbie.
AKA Duck Hunt. I'm really glad he didn't go with like Mike.
Yeah, that would have been so lame.
That stupid dog noise, like that, the Kefka laugh, like there's some little like Nintendo like old references that like will never leave my brain, and failing to shoot the birds and having the dog laugh at me, gives me nightmares. But a pretty quick drone coming out of Cham here, and I don't think it's gonna be anything too cheeky. He might ironically cats it up with a hatchery, but for the most part I think he's just checking to see if it's gonna be a 2 racks or not. The best way to do that isn't to scout the actual racks, but to scout the lack of racks at home.
Yeah, that's what a lot of Zerg players are doing whenever they drone scout. Some are 100% on the drone scout too, you know. Some they do it so that you don't plan on it. Some just always do it. But he also sees no gas, which is fairly important. I mean,
yeah, it's you don't want to put a Reaper gas on a 13. That's gonna be late and awkward as heck.
You can get 1 Marine and a Reaper. I used to do that because the Marine would always get an Overlord kill because they assumed I was gonna go Reaper. I stopped since then. This could have also been a bit scary in that, like, you don't really see it in TVZ or really anywhere. It's not a very good build, I think, but 2 racks, you put their 1 racks here and another rack somewhere else, and you don't get gas, and you just 2 racks, 1 from far, 1 from near. But it is going to be a 15 gas, which is something we used to see all the time in TVP, never really in TVZ.
Well, you know, one of the other importances of this that we can't overlook is the fact this means that Cham himself didn't have to rush out of gas. He knew because there wouldn't be Reapers, he wouldn't have to get that 6-minute speed out. Which is really nice too, because then of course you can drone longer, you get the extra queen out if you want to, you can focus more on minerals and not about worrying about that metal block boost. And I mean, granted you will eventually, but there are some builds that actually don't even incorporate it, and that's again leaning more towards like the Roach Hydra / Swarm Host type styles. But I've not seen enough Cham in recent days to know if that's going to be what his go-to is. I do know that Drewbie though has shown us through at least 1 series today in Copa America. He's really good at taking advantage of drops, and this is a map where you don't want to let him be able to do that.
What is this 15 gas for? You can still do the run racks expand as you did in Wings of Liberty. No gas until... I actually don't remember the supply count.
Well, here's why this is kind of fallen out of fashion though. One of the biggest cons to not having Reapers across the map means you're not really corralling your opponent in the slightest. Cham can freely drone, he's not forced to waste any larvae on 6 lings now, which means he'll more easily make 12 lings later. You know, that's kind of the snowball effect of it, where you've just got the economy to boost whatever you want. And not to mention, again, those three Zerglings, or sorry, 3 sets of lings, 150 minerals, that's an extra queen. That's the creep spreading queen. That's the extra queen you need to deal with Hellbats. I mean, Impact showed us as well, while these Hellbat pushes are really scary, they're not unstoppable, and you can deal with them with just queens.
Yeah. Usually with a typical 1 rack expand, no gas until after the command center, you get the benefit of having, well, a better economy, and also what we saw Drewbie doing, which was going around and trying to snipe overlords that were, you know, erroneously put across the map. But
Drewbie do. I'm sorry, I can't. Like,
he scouted that wasn't the case, so I'm surprised that Drewbie even tried to scout for an overlord. Although, honestly, habit is pretty powerful stuff. Cham could have just sent his overlords where he usually does anyways, without taking into account that there would be Marines out on the map. But either way, he gets to a point that we're used to seeing minus 1 or 2 Reapers.
yeah, so I mean, it's kind of taking the control away, but that's the other con to this as well. Like, where you could have maybe sniped off a creep tumor and bought yourself that 1 extra sort of leapfrog amount of time. The Hellions will eventually get that job done, but kind of in a predictable, there we go, English is hard, fashion, we have a Roach Warren coming up. But Cham's done something that's very subtle that I actually like a lot, and that's the 1 creep tumor bouncing up here to then connect to the natural. This is going to actually give him vision of that 1 odd dead space in the map, where normally you'll see drops come on this ledge and go unscouted.
The Roach Warren was put down. It could just, again, be for a couple of roaches to make sure that the gold isn't too heavily under fire, as it is quite a far ways away for a creep can get over there. Or he could really just be going for roaches.
Well, I mean, again, you don't have to invest in the roaches. You can just kind of make 5, 10, be happy with the early game. Oh, if you could have sniped that drone, that would have been really nice, actually, because Drewbie did not scout the gold up here. So he may have thought it was down to 2 bases, but really, this is 4, very early.
The Hellions do manage to slip by, even with some good micro on those queens on the front, and the drones were also pulled. It always looks so dangerous to do that, but luckily they were far away enough from the Hellions.
You know, what's nice is you do need those 3 shots to volley them down, so these drones are not in the worst danger in the world.
Yeah,
Might take a little bit
shot.
of pepper. Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. Drewbie is getting some marauders, though. He scouted a couple of the roaches. He, of course, scouted the roach warren just then, so he knew to get at least 1 or 2 to be safe.
Well, I like the reactor coming down. This will allow him to get those medevacs out a little bit quicker, so he's not going to bother wasting any time with the Banshee. But again, for Drewbie, the real unfortunate thing is he doesn't know about the gold. This looks like a standard game coming out of Cham, but as we know, that's not really the case.
Honestly, with that what he saw was a bit of a later third with roaches. He might have been a little bit paranoid, but as we know, it was just a really early 4th. In fact, he's not overreacting or anything like that. He's not throwing down a bunch of bunkers, but he could be a little more hesitant about everything. And in fact, I think his engineering bays were late. I think he got the barracks out faster and delayed his upgrades a little bit.
This wall's going to hold strong. It's a little bit scary having the command center here, but this is not really a vulnerability either. I mean, it's only 6 roaches. This is not something that's going to tear this down.
Yeah, like, the vulnerability of having that is that you might lose it, but who wastes 20 banelings on a command center with the wall?
Although, if you lift it, different story altogether. He replaces the bunkers right away, or the supply depots right away. But again, Cham is going off a gold base that Drewbie's unaware of, and I really hope this underestimation, this lack of scouting doesn't cost Drewbie the game, because this is snowballing Cham's economy pretty hardcore, like slingshotting this massively far ahead. He's on 70 drones between 4 bases. He's able to spend whatever he wants on money, quite frankly, and what he's going to make is a lot of Zerglings paired up with a lot of Banelings.
The real question is, did that affect his game plan at all? Because you don't usually see the Terran player move out until they have medevacs anyways, so seeing a gold base, yes, it's more knowledge, and more knowledge is always better. Words of wisdom in life, but you wouldn't do anything about it anyways until now.
I like this standard 12-minute Zergling speed timing that's coming out here, the metabolic boost.
Yeah, he's also dedicating into Lings again. It wasn't his intention to go for anything but roaches, so it is kind of a late speed.
Well, the thing is, though, he was never forced to make it, so it's understandable why it's late. He'll scout these double drops coming to Drewbie towards the south, and should be able to position his army in time to deal with this.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I don't think Cham knows that his gold base is gonna unscouted, though. I mean, the spine crawler, the army positioning, it just looks like he's ready to defend it.
Yeah, and this looks like a well-timed 4th down here as well, so that is coming to an unfortunate place right now, because doing these drops here, it's so much easier when they don't have mutas, and he's not getting mutas for a while. He also messes up that drop, by the way. No reason to lose the drop at all. Is that you can go from the gold to the main and back and forth all you want, and it's very, very powerful. And if you don't know that it's there, you don't even think about doing that. So he just missed that opportunity.
Drewbie's 1-1 finishing up here in a second, too. He's going to have to deal with some Banelings waddling in here. However, goes through the bunker, goes through the depots, connects to a good chunk of the SCVs! And while not devastating damage, only 5 died. Actually, well, only 5 died? Well, I guess there's 2 mules in there, too. But, it's still, it caught him off guard. Something now he's going to have to brace for the rest of the game. More Banelings coming in the middle of the map. And, again, this is Cham's economy just absolutely getting out of control.
Well, it's also just the decision. He's counting it up right here. Instead of going for any type of spire, which usually is what you do for the long game, he's going for a very powerful Roach Baneling attack. This drop goes undefended. This could be something to really bring Drewbie back into this game, because I don't know if we can hold the front. Yeah,
this is going to be pretty all-in out of both players at this point. One's going to have to defend, of course, one's going to have to attack, but the Banelings take care of most of the Marines here at the front lines. There's absolutely nothing to stop the Roaches, and honestly, wasting time on the third base, if anything. He's just got to go through and get on top of that production. The second he kills Drewbie's production is the second he claims this game. But back at home, Zerglings are speeding up here towards the main. A couple Roaches are coming. He will clean this drop-up. It cost him a base, but that's okay. He's still out of gold.
Yeah, Drewbie might think that he's in a better position than he is. As far as he's concerned, he cleaned up the main and he cleaned up the 4th. Still think he's on 2 bases.
So many of these SCVs are just one shot from dying. That blatantly connect earlier was not quite what it needed to be, but even this drop gets cleaned up thanks to the spine crawler. This is absolutely Cham's game to lose at this point. His army supplies double that of his opponents. The roaches are looking unstoppable, even though there's marauders here, and so many SCVs have bled out. 44 have gone down, and there's, quite frankly, only a handful remaining for Drewbie.
This is game over for Drewbie. As fortunate as it is, we are just waiting for the game.
Yeah. GG.
There we go. So I really think that game went down to like lack of scouting. It looks like he was I mean, he's getting a lot of marauders, which you would think, okay, he knows it's gonna be roaches, but maybe thinking it was gonna be roach hydra and abusing the fact there's no hydras, not realizing it was gonna be roach baneling, which is a big attack that you have to prepare for.
I wanna pretend like that gold base wasn't the biggest deal, but I bet you the second Drewbie flew over that to drop the main, he was like, son of a you know, just, oh, you have that apparently. Oh, am I making the next game? I think I'm making the